And Katrina, would you mind if I put you on as a co-host wherever you are? I saw your name pop up.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's start off by just connecting heart to heart and heart to heart. Such a good way to really say hello to each other. So let's just close our eyes and take a few deep breaths and bring our awareness and our attention down to the heart. Not just thinking about the heart, but actually travel energetically down to your heart. The journey from head to heart. That's a familiar title. And moving down there. So we're going to use the heart as our point of reference in our communication. So that we listen from the heart, we speak from the heart, we acknowledge each other from the heart, and we can feel as our major part of communicating is from the heart. And actually say hello to yourself from the heart. That you are acknowledging yourself as this energy system that has the ability to do these types of things, to actually bring your awareness to a certain part of the body, and that you respond to this and say hello, that you're acknowledging yourself and you're connecting and maybe saying, I love you to your heart and to yourself. That this is good and that we're in a good place and we're doing a good thing. And that our heart sings, and we acknowledge each of us here that we're connecting through a like-mindedness, through a community of well-beings that cares about how we're individually feeling and how things are working collectively. And part of our purpose is to bring connection and greater awareness to humanity so that we can all be heart-centered and we're working for the greater goodness of the whole. And with that said, we all say hello to each other, heart to heart, to heart to heart, to heart to heart. Wonderful. I've been giving a lot of thought to today's talking stick. And of course, this is for you. This talking stick is designed where you have a voice and you can communicate, have questions answered, concerns discussed, and we have a dialogue with it. It's not necessarily a time for me to teach, although I am a teacher and I find myself always kind of moving into that mode. And I have on the call today several people that participated yesterday in what we call the level 3 regalia ceremony. And I was so impressed with their presentations yesterday. And these people are in Light Song, they're in level 3, and they're working with beings that have connect wanted to connect with them to bring messages to us from that otherworldly, unseen realm. And across the board last night were these very strong messages of this is the greatest time in human history that we've ever experienced. And that this is the time we've been waiting for, that we're in it, that we are the ones that are bringing in and ushering or midwifing in these new energies of the new earth. And time again, and all of these beings were not interconnected as far as from the same places in non ordinary reality, but they were carrying this extremely strong message. And it's a message that I have heard from my own spirit allies over and over and over again, uh, really starting back from the early 90s that this time was coming. But yet, when we look out into the world and we look at what we're being exposed to from sort of a broadcast, a media broadcast, it doesn't feel all that special. It doesn't feel like, oh my God, this is this great time. But yet it is. It is. And so I thought that there was a couple things that we could do today. One, I'd love to hear some of your comments about that, like some of the things that you're dealing with that we could capitalize on and help you with. And also uh, that I feel as if all of us, regardless of how far along we are in our spiritual work, um, need each other and can always use a boost in what I call spiritual immunity to the things that are around us. So, with that said, I hope that that was enough of a lead in to get some of you to ask some questions or talk about where maybe you're struggling that we could be helpful, and or to share, those of you that were in level 3 last night that want to share and uh, expand on some of the things that you're feeling about this time. So I'm watching the chat. Does anybody want to make a comment and or express themselves? Oh, come on, you guys, don't be quiet. Yeah, Katie, go ahead.
Just wanted to make a quick comment. I'm so appreciative to be here. And I keep having this experience in Journey where I'm being called to notice where all the other light workers are. They just show up as light, and it's almost on a grid of the whole metro area. Before I realized that Light Song existed, I was seeing that light in Journey and questioning. And I feel like I was slow and dense because of the area it was. I didn't associate it with you. At that time, I believed that you had moved, the power
Oh,
of our beliefs.
yeah.
So it took me a long time to get it. Anyway, the comment I wanted to make is that in these journeys, my spirit animal keeps telling me that it's more important than we're realizing that we see and notice, that I'm not getting more information because what they're trying to get me to see and notice is how much brighter and bigger and more powerful every one of us gets because we each just see and notice the existence of each other in this. And that's kind of what resonated with me when you started talking today. I just wanted to share that part of my journey.
It's really beautiful, Katie. And when we see each other, truly see our existence, our radiance, our light, um, of course, it is bright. So many people have been trained to look at others with a critical eye, with a judgment or an opinion. And I just heard a really interesting thing from Eckhart Tolle the other day and I don't know if you're familiar with Eckhart Tolle. I like to listen to him. And he's an author of The Power of Now and um, many other books, actually. But he said criticism strengthens the ego. And when you're wanting to be in more awareness, you have to pay attention to your criticism. And I was like, that's, it's so amazing because I know in light song and for myself, it's always this move away from the ego. Like the ego is definitely not the enemy, but it's telling you a story. It keeps you connected to your stories, the stories of the past, the stories that define you as a limited being. And when we look at somebody and we criticize them or we immediately judge them, what that's doing is it's giving you this place of hierarchy. Like you're criticizing them because you're in some way trying to make yourself be more knowledgeable or better on some level. And so when he said it strengthens the ego, I thought, wow, that is such good information to kind of keep in the back of your mind if you're trying to be able to really see people like what you're saying, Katie, because we're all these radiant beings of light that are being asked to shine and asked to kind of show up in our magnificence instead of showing up in our um, in our wounds. Does that make sense? Yeah. I'm getting a whole bunch of stuff in the chat. And Katrina, could you help me out with this, please? And let me know if there's something there that is a
I have a
question.
comment. I have
Yeah,
a comment, if that's
sure.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm Elise, by the way. This is the
Hi,
first
Elise.
time we've engaged. Hi, so
Hi.
nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I have been processing the past month in particular, just so much intense emotions. And I know that I'm picking up emotions from the collective, but it's also, I think, deep emotions within myself that are coming up to be felt and to be transmuted.
Mhm.
And it's been very intense, actually. I find that I have to really be present sometimes 3 to 5 times a day to just be present with these emotions. And then when I am, they just go away. It's like they melt away, but they keep on coming up. And it's hard for me to distinguish what I'm picking up from the collective sometimes and what's my own. And also, if you wouldn't mind commenting, I sense that this is going to continue in December through December. I just sense that this is going to, because it's like a clearing, it's like a cleansing. And I'd love to get your feedback on that. Thank you.
Absolutely. And that's a wonderful question. And you're right on so many components of it, as far as it's coming up to get your attention, not to take you down. It needs to be cleared, right? I'm going to refer back to the story of stories for Light Song this last year because it goes right along with this question. And
It's
that's
also
story.
mentioned in the chat.
I'm sorry.
It's also mentioned in the chat, this story.
Oh, okay. I'm not able to read the chat and to do this, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. This is a true story that most of you that are on this call that follow Light Song have heard several times, but it's worth repeating. There's fires that were raging in Machu Picchu in Peru that had a very destructive force, and they were afraid of losing the area. And the council members of that area that govern Machu Picchu and take care of it decided to call in shamans to put out the fires. When the shamans came in, all of them except for one went out and started working with the elements and drumming and singing and doing the things that they do in order to try to work with the elements and stop the fires. This one woman asked to have this little hut made that she was going to go in and go into complete darkness, which she did for about a day and a half. During that time, the fires went out. And the other shamans knew that it was something that she had done, not what they were doing out there with their drumming and singing and the various things. And so they asked her, they said, what did you do? How did you put out the fires? And she said, I found where I was out of alignment in myself. And when I corrected that, the outside world changed and was brought back into alignment. So that is it, that story, you should think of that story every day, because what we're looking at on the outside world can really only be addressed by addressing our inner world. And I think, at least that was what your guidance has been, that something is out of alignment. One of the ways that I work with that is that when I'm feeling something so strongly, an emotion that's coming up that's taking me off center, I ask myself the question, why am I feeling that? And I'll journal it. I make sure I journal it, because when you are randomly going through things in your head, we have thousands of thoughts per second, actually. We have all the involuntary things that are going on in our bodies too. It can become very disorganized, and or you'll start off on a thought and then the next thing you know, you're on a tangent. Something else is going on. But if you journal, it is a way of helping you organize your thinking. And so again, I'll ask why. Why am I thinking that? And I'll get that answer. And then I'll say, but take me deeper. What else is there? And then I get that. And then I say, but take me deeper. And in Recreate, which is a program that is, you can buy and you can do all this, it's called shining a light. And I'm going like this, like I have a flashlight, shining a light on this elusive belief that you're looking for. Because why are you doing it? It's because you hold a belief about yourself somewhere inside that is causing that reaction in you and that feeling to come up. Our beliefs are the direct results of them is a feeling. Okay, your belief is going to bring up a feeling that then you are going to respond to. So to answer your question, that's how you do it. And once you find the belief and you shine a light on it, it automatically, like you said, it starts to melt away. Because beliefs are choices, as well as going into the quantum fields, the studies that have shown the observer changes the experiment. So you're the observer here, and your belief is what you're viewing, the experiment. As soon as you look at it, it gives it ability to shift and to change. And since beliefs are choices, like I just said, you can then say, I choose not to believe that. And it immediately shifts into some other beliefs that you've adapted in your life that are stronger about your radiance, about this and that. Because a lot of these beliefs that haunt us are actually coming up from our childhood. The spirits call them blind beliefs. They're beliefs that we've adapted and didn't even know why we adapted them. They were things that people said to us, or things that we bought into, or, you know, just wounds that you've made a story around. And we have the ability as radiant beings and present moment beings of saying, I choose not to carry that with me anymore. And it can dissolve. So does that help you? Yeah.
Jan,
I
can I
was,
say something?
Let her go ahead and
Oh,
comment. Go ahead, Elise.
oh no, I was just wondering if you have a sense at all, whether you care to comment, whether this will continue through November, like collectively,
I
or
think it continues and has been here since the beginning of time and will continue. It's a self evolution. And we are on the fast track of evolving right now. And that's what the term ascension means. That's what it means to move into the dynamics and the energy of the new earth. And everybody will ascend in their own evolution eventually. I do feel, to answer your question about November and December, there has been a collective shift that
mhm.
has taken place in the last couple of weeks. And there's a huge amount of inner awareness that has been capitalized on, that people are looking into, that are bringing people into maybe more looking, but also more hope. They're having greater successes with their attempts to evolve. And to me, this is very inspiring. I really heard it again last night as I was listening to these beings come through, these, you know, helping spirits come through in their messages. And it lined up with what this shift that I have felt in the collective. Yeah. So it's all about this shift right now. This is why we incarnated. This is why we're here. We really want to get on board with all of this. So somebody had a comment. I'm sorry,
I
I
did.
kind of got you.
Hi, I'm Isa,
Hi,
and
Issa.
I want to thank you for the criticism and critical head, because lately I'll look at something and it immediately goes there, and I'm like, okay, why are you thinking that? Go away, and I'll let it go
Go
away.
away.
Well, yeah, go away. I don't know you and I don't like you. This is not what I want to be in my world, right? And then I get these individuals reflecting that right back with their agendas, and I'm like, okay, that's a belief. Your belief, you can believe that and you can operate on that, but I'm not going to choose that. So one of the things you reminded me of is something, I don't know if you know who Reverend Michael Beckwith is, but he used to say a lied belief is an operating truth in our lives until we neutralize it. And so I've been working with that a lot, and lately it's been really popping. Like the head talk is so clear and so not aligned with what my heart is. So I that thank you for that. And then I had the thought that you said something about 93, and I was like, 96, I started my journey into, the real true um diving into the spiritual, like, who am I? Who am I really? And why am I here? And that led me to the angelic realm, and I worked in shamanism both. But the angels would tell me that there will come a time where you will not be able to rely on your eyes, but you will have to rely on your eye, and you will have to sense what is right, and you will have to listen, because that will be the only tool you'll have. Everything else will be crazy. And I think to myself, I think we're here. I think we're here. I go out into the world and things seem really crazy, but if I just go with my heart and not pay attention to the external, but stay within the internal, I know whether to go left or to go right. I know which way to walk. I know what to do. It's really profound to see the that message that I remember so clearly, to feel like I'm living it now. They also said it would be a good thing to have a garden and get things going. That I've not been so successful with. I've planted, but Oregon, West Coast doesn't do well with gardens all year round. So I'm thinking greenhouse might be a better path down the road. But just really good to have a lot of this affirmed. So thank you. And anything else you can share that help, definitely me and probably everybody else on walking this time, because it's hard to stay connected when so much is bombarding you. I mean, I don't watch the news, I don't have TV. I've taken out a lot of those things, but you still have friends who do a lot of things and you're like, okay, I need to hang up now.
Mhm.
Thank you again for having this.
You're welcome. And you've tapped in, or the angels tapped into a message that has been the message of Light Song for a long time, and that is, the definition of a shaman is somebody who sees in the dark with their heart. That is what the definition is. That's what the word means. It's a Siberian reference. So yes, it is. In the shamanic practice, the eyes lie to you. They tell you a particular story dependent on your mind and what you fill in, and your belief system and what you project out there. So yes, they're right in alignment with that. The going inside is what we want to do, and this is why we've also built community, why it's so important that we have times like this so that we can stay together and be together to uplift each other, where you have a place to not only communicate but to listen and to fill with positive energy. I will say that the garden part of your message is more like the fires in Peru. We have to realize that that garden message is a message of doom and gloom, and our reality is that we have the power to shift realities by really moving into this internal space, and we don't want to look to what's going on out there, like the garden or the fires. We want to look at what's going on in here, and that will keep us both the safest and in your own particular uh, dimension of time and space, and your world will work accordingly to that. Does that make sense? Yes, good, good.
Absolutely. You just triggered something that when I moved here, I was thinking, how am I going to have the money to get things done? And I have been given all kinds of things, and I'm fine. I'm more than fine. And so it's been that inner work because I didn't know what to do, and I didn't have people to turn to, so I had to go within. And it's really reconnected me. And I love your work. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Anybody else? Katrina, do you want to fill me in on?
We do have a couple of things in the chat. I think you touched on a lot of it. One person said that they were feeling good and protected, taking time to do lots of inner reflecting because they remembered your story about the shaman in the tent.
Uh-huh.
Um, and another person wanted to touch on feelings of alienation right now. They said that they're doing a lot of shadow work, and it seems difficult that maybe they don't have a sense of community. It feels like the people around them not wanting to look at the issues that they're looking at is causing trouble.
Okay. If I'm interpreting that correctly, we don't need to have the people around us looking at their issues. All we need to be concerned is us looking at ours. Okay. And that is the reality that we are, again, when we look at ours, if you think of those outside people that you're trying to also get to look at their stuff, think of them as the fires. Okay. They are the fires, and you have your issues. As you change on the inside, that automatically adjusts. Does that make sense? But you can't hold it like they have to change because you're changing. When you really change, it shifts everything. If that, hopefully that makes sense. I've also been feeling this sense of in the community of, not alienation, but we need more. So I'm making this talking stick going to be twice a month instead of once a month. And we'll be doing more things at Light Song. We're going to be putting out a kind of like a flyer of all the different free things that we're offering to keep you connected and to keep you feeling like you have like-minded people around you. And that's all that we can really, it's this work of, if I'm feeling alienated, then what am I doing to connect? It's that, what does alienation mean to you? There's a belief system around that. And exploring all of these different feelings that can feel separated or fearful or not enough. All of those are part of that belief system that we want to look at and make these corrections on the inside so that those feelings actually go away. They go away. I hope that I'm not sure who asked that question, but if you want to comment on that, I'd love to hear from you.
I think that was Crystal, but I think maybe you touched on what she asked because she's not commenting to share.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Okay.
There are two questions about the perspective of transitioning entities or psychopumping and the importance of that.
The two questions in this chat, Katrina, or was that an old chat?
There was one question in this chat and one that was emailed to the office.
Uh-huh. Okay, and can you ask me that question again, please?
Sure. The one email to the office was, can you touch on the importance of psychopumping work in this time? And the one in the chat says, I'd like to ask a question on Jan's perspective of transitioning entities. And that's from Sunny Brown.
Okay. Sunny, why don't you undo your mic and give me more details on what you mean by that? I mean, there's lots of different places I can take that question. I just want to.
Yeah, hi. So I am in level 2 with Pamela right now, and we are practicing some extraction work. And so I have the ability, I do skincare, so I work on clients all the time, and my clients are all, really interested in what I'm doing. And so I've been, practicing with clients that I'm comfortable with. And I had a recent experience with a client I've known a really long time, and I was doing the extraction, and I was surprised that this dark entity came through, and I didn't know what to do in the moment. And so I tried to kind of, use some techniques to transition it. But when it was done, it actually was hanging out with me. She felt great. She was having nightmares and so she, it was giving her nightmares for years. And then I felt uneasy after the session. And then all of a sudden I was having nightmares, and it was trying to communicate with me psychically. And I just got really scared. And so I reached out to Pamela, and we did a session, and I kind of felt like it tricked me, like it pretended like it used to be human, and we transitioned it, but then it wasn't transitioned, and so I had to have another session where I had to communicate with it more because it kept saying it had free will, and so I finally was able to kind of have I had to have a conversation, like trying to ask, kind of persuade it that it could get more power that it was looking for from the light, from the good, and if it transitioned, that it could obtain these things it was trying to feed from. And so it agreed to transition, and now I feel fine. I feel like it's not hanging out with me anymore, but it was a huge learning experience for me, and just to kind of really respect and honor all things. And it really made me have to use all of my tools, and it actually made me even more of a believer than I already was in all of my allies and all of these things I'm doing. But it for a few moments there, it kind of made me want to shut down my gifts. And so I just was interested in hearing, what you had to say about those types of things.
Well, Sunny, you, as I was listening to you, you answered exactly where I was going to take you with this. Because, for one thing, your experience, I'm not sure if people can follow that experience. You're using, vocabulary and everything that maybe or maybe not people are familiar with. And the important part of your story that I was going to take you to was, what did you learn? Because as we are becoming aware in our awarenesses and bringing in more consciousness, we have to also realize that we're being educated in the vastness of the universe and the complexity of it that is mind blowing. Our brains can't even wrap around this stuff. It is it is so amazing and full of unlimited possibilities. I think that many times in a shamanic training, you're going to be challenged where it's like, whoa, what's going on? And that challenge is, when you stick with it, which you did, was to bring you to this place that you're going, oh my God, this came through in a way that I could never have imagined. And that's where we're trying to get you. That is where spirit is trying to get you. That you realize that the forces of light and of love, they work no matter how dark an entity can be, no matter how aggressive an energy can be. When you are working with the powers of the light and love and offering awareness to no matter how dark an energy is, it always works, hands down. It's a process, believe me, it's a process, but that is the one of the things that I also have been shown over and over and over again in my personal work with clients, as well as my own work in working with these realms. And I think that you were just being sort of initiated into another level of understanding. The important part was is that you didn't give up with it, or you didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to turn all this down," because yeah, that tendency can be there. But if you're being asked to trust, and you
Yeah,
did, and that
ab-
happened. Hmm.
absolutely. It was honestly, it was pretty frightening. And but in the end, I actually had like almost this power come through me, like, Archangel Saint Michael, where I felt like it was time to wield my sword and shield, and not in an aggressive
Hmm.
way, but in a way that was like, no, like, and yeah, it was, like I said, it was a huge learning. And so I was just really kind of excited to bring it up with you and just, get your opinion. And Pamela's been amazing to work with. And but yeah, it was, and I was kind of told by a colleague, like, you were just ready to learn that now. And I was like, oh, I guess I was. But yeah, and it gave me like a whole newfound appreciation and honoring of both sides too. So thank you so much.
I do want to clarify one thing there, Sunny. Um, you're talking about your shield and your sword. We do not go to war with these entities, nor should you. But you do have boundaries of your sovereignty. And you can say, my intention is I'm saying no to you, that you don't have access to me. But if you'll pay attention to how Pamela, I'm sure she worked, she did not go to war with this. She
Oh
felt,
yeah, absolutely. And I guess that could come off wrong, but it
yeah.
kind of, and like what you said, it almost felt like that sword and shield were my boundary in a way of
Yeah,
like,
you can have a boundary, which is your intention, but we don't go to war with anything. We don't, if you go to war with something, an energy, a belief, a feeling, uh, an entity, now you've got a war. That's what war is. It's who's going to have power over. And that is not the way that awareness works, consciousness works, present moment works, or the light and source work. None of them work that way. The way that they work is a total inclusion of love. And on some levels, maybe you're aware of it or not, but that's what happened for you. There was, and Pamela was probably guiding through the process, and you were just experiencing it. But yeah, you don't go to war with any of these things. None of them. You embrace them, and embracing means that you expand yourself to the point of the all of the oneness, that everything is included and there's no judgment, there's no differentiation. Just like we were saying earlier, those judgments and opinions are just building the ego. They don't have anything to do with the light. And when a being feels that inclusion, they dissolve. They also set down their sword, if you want to put it that way. So yeah, it there's a lot more to your story that I'm sure as time goes on and you learn more and more of these skills, you're going to go, oh, that's another part of what I was experiencing. And so, like I said, you're initiated for sure into an awareness, and it's about growing that. So,
oh yes, thank you so much, Jan.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Next, we've got a share from
Okay,
Crystal, who you touched on her question already.
sure.
And then we've got a question from Matthew and a question from Lara. And I just want to let you know, Jan, my phone is kind of dying. So if I pop out, I didn't mean to.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Crystal. Thanks
Hi,
so much
Crystal.
for being here. Thank you. Hi. So I was trying to distill into a question or a comment all the things that are going on in my head. I guess so. I got on my spiritual path through recovery from addiction a long time ago, I and I've tried a whole variety of different modalities, but I was introduced to Jane Roberts and the Seth material at a very young age. So a lot of these concepts that people are starting to become more familiar with are things that I've known about and studied for a very long time.
Mhm.
And when I say shadow work, I think I'm not really sure we have like we people don't talk about the shadow as much and shadow work, and there's I don't know that there's a real common language or understanding about what that is. But also, I guess I'm having some trouble because I feel like I mean I've always known that I was a teacher, but I'm having struggles with this. Uh, I guess I just I've always thought, well, I just really suck at this because every time I try to make suggestions or talk to people about something, I seem just to be on a different wavelength. And so I've known about this whole idea that, you try to get yourself in alignment and you'll see things differently. But, so I mean, I'm in my mid 60s now. And after all the years of all this work and just, I feel like initiation after initiation, it's like, come on already. When am I going to feel like, I've found my home? I mean, that's not just a metaphysical idea. I haven't ever really been felt like I was grounded in my right place. I've always felt sort of floaty, like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. So you can see I'm having a hard time articulating this because there's so much going on, and I just lately have felt like that first share said about being so emotional. Like every day, I just have to. I'm an artist, so beauty is very important to me, and I'm surrounded by beauty. I live in a pretty remote area in Montana. But I look out the window, I see something beautiful, I start to cry. I look and see a bird, I start to cry. I feel like this, like I'm being opened up to something. But as far as it isn't people, it's I just feel like I'm on a different plane from people, and so I know things always get better, and most of the time I'm okay with all this. But I started doing this visioning class because in our local, there's a Center for Spiritual Living, which is, I guess, used to be called Science of Mind, which I discovered. So we had our first vision class this Monday, and it was great. Except that every time I shared what my visions were, I don't know if it was the internet connection, which wasn't great, but I just felt like the stuff I was sharing just fell flat with everyone. And the reverend who was giving this class was like telling everyone else, "Oh, that's wonderful, that's great." And then I would share my vision, and there would be like no comment. So I don't know. Maybe you can just comment on that. What are you picking up here? Thank you, and thanks for doing this. It's really been helpful for me.
What I hear are many, many, many things, Crystal. Most loudly is a belief or a sense of being unfulfilled and unrecognized. That is where you would want to do your work. Like, what is that all about, and where did that come from? Because that belief, our beliefs broadcast off of us. Our beliefs in a metaphysical way are all stored in your chakras, not necessarily up in your head, but they're in your chakra body. And they broadcast an energy off of you of a particular frequency. So if you're broadcasting, I'm unrecognized, I'm unnoticed, I'm unfulfilled, that energy is going to come off, and it's going to track to you situation after situation after situation to make that true. That is what you're creating in your life. We're the creator beings. We create from our broadcast. And so that's why that particular thing needs to be adjusted. That is where your work is, right there. And I would suggest, if you're willing and if you want to work with a practitioner at Lightsong, and contact the office, because they can pilot right in on some of this stuff for you, and help you work through it, because it sounds like you're spinning your wheels a little bit, and because you're not getting right to the point of what's going on. So hopefully that's helpful.
Well, thank you. I have kind of a lot going on right now, and I will certainly try to make space for that. But I have another workshop that I'm doing plus this visioning thing, and
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of rebuilding my.
Well, you can use the information that I shared today and do your own work. There was plenty of things. If you follow through, this is recorded, you can re-listen to it and follow through, just shining a light on that and making different choices. But you've got that real deep inner work around that topic. And once,
Maybe talk a little bit about shadow work, because I've been working on those issues for 30 years. Okay, so it's like, and I'm not a stupid person. It's like there are just these, well, there's deep trauma there, and I've been working on all of that too. So, but shadow work seems to, it's like there's always a new level, you know. I clear one thing and there's like a new hurdle.
You've got to
You know what I
find the
mean?
core. You've got to find the core. And when you have deep core issues like that, that is part of your purpose. This is why you're here, to work on those. It's not that you're not getting it. You're further along than ever, but you're focusing in. And, you know, it is attainable. I mean, you being this far along in your conversation, it is attainable. But what I also hear is a lot of frustration and I'm tired, you know, I'm tired of doing this. I want it to go away. I want it to be different. I want to be able to shine. All those things are possible, but you know, it's very pinpointed to get you into those places. That's why I would say the personal work is would be a great asset for you instead of group work. So anyway, does anybody else? Thank you, Crystal, for the disclosure and the transparency that you were allowed to reveal to us. I appreciate it. Is there anybody else that has a question? Or Katrina, are you there?
Yes, I think it was Matthew and then Lara.
Okay. Matthew? Hi, Matthew.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
I have a couple of questions. I'll try to be super brief. I'm very new to all of this. I have felt like in 2020, I kept feeling like 2020 was a year in which people would wake up a little bit and learn about some of their abilities. And I always thought, oh, hooray, maybe that'll happen to me. And I've stumbled across a couple of things that I think can that touch on some of the other comments that were made today. I often have dreams that I think are of the collective. I might have a coronavirus dream of some sort, a lot of people dying or a lot of people afraid. And I'm never directly involved. So I feel like I'm just a witness to that. And I feel like, oh, that's not really from me. I'm touching into something else. And that's how I've come to understand that this year. Okay. And another thing that I have been doing is some breath work while I meditate, and it will often bring back a memory or an emotion from a previous time. And what I've been doing when that comes up is saying, I acknowledge you, just to kind of get a hold of the invisible. I see you, to try and bring it into my sense, my five senses. I appreciate you, or thank you for teaching me something. I love you, and I release you. And then my question comes to what happened after that is, after I would say, I release you, or I alchemize you, I always felt like I was breaking the bond between a pure pure energy or love and the expression that it took, the emotion or the feeling. And then I would invite that energy to come back to me, since it was mine, and inhabit a higher expression. Please come back to me as a higher expression. And it would always engender a lot of happiness and joy from me after I would do this for a while. Well, I hope I'm not taking up too much time, but I would like to tell what happened at the dentist office the other day. On Friday, I had a root canal.
Okay.
And I try to meditate while I'm having dental work done, because it's such an intense experience. So I'm doing this while the dentist is working on me. I feel like he's taking care of my tooth, which I've neglected for years, and that must be some sort of karmic debt there that I should try and unload. So I would say this, I was really trying to say I want love and blessings for the dentist, for the office, for this block, the receptionist. And I acknowledge what I'm doing, and I see it, and I thank you for teaching me, and I love you, and I release you, and please come back. And this was a long procedure. It was about an hour and a half. And about an hour and 15 minutes in, I saw a spiritual personality, let's say, that I used to know, that I used to venerate. He was an Indian guru named Mayor Baba. And I thought, oh my gosh, Mayor Baba's right there. Mayor Baba's the dentist. And I thought, oh, this is going to go great. You know, I'm in good hands. And then it seemed like I was Mayor Baba for a minute, in that I was giving some love to the dentist. And then the dentist was Mayor Baba again, and then he was gone. So I guess my question is this something that I just called out of my own mind, or did I contact Mayor Baba in another realm?
When we have doubts, I want to ask you first, what was the overall feeling that you had with the experience of being with Mayor Baba and as the dentist? What did that feel like?
Fantastic.
Okay,
Nothing but love.
there you have it. And that's all that's important. Okay, that what you're experiencing, and I don't know, Matthew, if you've ever heard me talk about right brain, left brain or not, but there's different parts of our brain that actually are allowing us to connect in with a different reality, a different expression, a different lifetime. That's what we're going to call the right brain. Okay, it's actually in the present moment, and you're bringing that awareness to this moment where you're having this connection. We live in a left brain dominant society where we have an incredible spiritual experience, and then we try to figure it out. So we're going from the right brain into the left brain, which is all analytical, cause and effect, logic, language, all ego, all of these things are in the left brain. And so what we take for this experience then is we dilute it, like never can the two meet really, because you have this experience and then you're trying to figure it out when it's unexplainable according to the protocols of the left brain. It doesn't function that way. How can it understand it? All right. So we turn then and say, what was your feeling? Fantastic. There you have it. Is that true? Absolutely. It's true. It's just not going to fit into that pigeonhole of the left brain logic that doesn't know how to explain these things. And almost every spiritual experience will fall into that category. We have, even dreams will fall into that category, because dreaming is actually a right brain function. And then we try to figure out what happened through a left brain template. And that's why in shamanism, we never analyze a dream, because dreams are not to be analyzed. They're a right brain, interdimensional, present moment, all inclusive. They're these things that our left brain just doesn't even get at all. So hopefully that has answered or helped you with that. But yes, absolutely, you made that contact. Absolutely, you had the experience. Absolutely, your dentist had no idea what was going on in that chair underneath his tool. That's pretty cool. So good
Both
for
told
you.
me I was a really good patient. So.
I'm sure you were. I'm sure it affected the whole room and him and everything that was going on, because you can't be in that energy field that you're having in your own awareness, in your own imagination, in your own sensory, and not have it affect the container. Everybody felt that. Okay. And so they might be able to put different words to it, like, wow, you're a great patient, or man, this felt really good in here working on you. So yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you for
Very
sharing
cool.
that.
Thank you.
Well, we're actually at time. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to say, or another question that is just burning inside of you and you want to be able to ask it? I'm happy to help.
You can also submit any questions that are not burning
Yeah.
to the office, and we can talk about them next time too. Just throwing that out there.
And we are going to make this again a twice a month offering. We're still looking at, if we're going to keep it at the same time, 9 o'clock on a Sunday, or give a variety, all those things. But you'll get notified with it. And thank you for connecting with me. I feel better. I feel more in community and like I've been revitalized and given, just more inspiration for the day. And I hope that you have too. I hope that this has benefited you on some level, that you can go, yeah, let's say hello to today and just enjoy it and keep filling with that light. So, yeah. So thank you. Mhm. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your help, Katrina. I really appreciated it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jan.
You're welcome.
Yes, Poland, it was recorded.
Thank you, Jan.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
And thank you.
Yep, you can watch it, Poland.
Thank you, Jan.
If I may, one quick
Thanks,
comment
Jan.
for
Very
those
appreciative.
who are still here listening.
Yeah, Ken.
Before anyone goes, yeah, or whoever's here. But my background on my phone for a long time was a quote by Lao Tzu that it's really short and simple, and it said, "Stop thinking and end your problems." And I love it. I love it. And my girlfriend said to me last night, she goes, I'm so tired of dreaming about like when and when in the future and when I have this and when I feel this. And she's like, I want to feel all that right now. And I was like, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. That's kind of the I like to analyze things. I like to look at the whole geopolitical situation, the financial situation, everything that's going on in the world, and connect all the little dots. And it will drive you crazy if you if that's all that you do is analyze rather than just live in the moment of your own personal life too. I mean, I'm really excited by what's going on in the world, and I like to stay really up to date on it, but also at the same time I like to roll around in the grass in the sun and not think about anything too. So I think I'm trying to do more of that right now because there's so much pressure in the collective, I think, to have answers, and we're in like a limbo time with where lots of patience is being required. So anyway, I'm trying to do my best to end my problems by not thinking.
I gotta tell you of a quote that came across my screen this morning. It says, "Give up waiting as a state of mind. When you catch yourself slipping into waiting, snap out of it. Come into the present moment. Just be and enjoy being."
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's a real practice in itself, is to come out of all the things that I've learned and am learning, and more things that I want to learn, and be like, okay, I've got so many hours in a day to implement these things. And when I realize how much time it actually takes and how much focus it takes to like say, hey, I'm going to take a half hour for this and a half hour for that and an hour for this and an hour for that, and then by the time you feed yourself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't need anything else to add. I need to be in the experiences that I have, and deepen those. So that's kind of what I've been pondering on recently.
Very good. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's nice to see some new faces and all the familiar faces. So I'll see you guys on the 22nd.
Yeah, we'll be together again, right? So
right.
very good. Okay.
Much love, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.